Alright, it's time for the Almighties. It's time to rank the Almighties. And so, something tells me we're gonna have a few more A's and S's, maybe? Possibly? I don't know. Why did I close Mirror He's, bruh? I don't know why I did that. Goated banner? Well, I think that's kind of changed over time. Who's even up right now? Zeus. Sorry, man. Top of C. It's time to glaze a set? Not yet, not yet. Be patient. Be patient, be patient. Poor Zeus, yeah. But like, here's the thing. I actually believe him to be B. Like probably. I mean, I don't really like. I like specialist value more than generalist value. I think I'll put Zeus at the bottom of B, right? I think I'll put him at the bottom of B. Do justice for my boy Poseidon. Don't worry, I will. But with Zeus, he's just a glorified ramen. He's just a ramen if the recharge time was up to 160 seconds. Basically, uberifying ramen, and not in the good way. So, like, Poseidon is actually really good. But this guy, I mean, his Behemoth Slayer can be nice. His slow is only 1 second long. His target zombie is, like, useless. Yeah, no. I mean, he's just a pretty generic backliner with poor survivability thanks to only 2 knockbacks. And I mean, he's a backlining tank without a good status because his attack frequency is 6 seconds and his slow is only... If his slow was like 4 seconds, I would actually consider putting him in like A tier. Because like honestly high A, because against zombies and angels, and give him zombie killer for the love of God, man. Bro didn't even get zombie killer, but like with Behemoth Slayer, right? So slow, if it was a 4 second slow with Behemoth Slayer and resist against angels, he would actually be a really good anti-angel like Behemoth Slayer. You know, like he would be really good for Rajakong, and he already is kind of good against Rajakong. But unfortunately, his status is just so useless that it's not even worth considering. Why the hell did he get a 1 second slow? Why is that the slow he got for Ultra Talents? Like, what the hell? Poor guy. And he didn't even get Zombie Killer. He didn't even get Zombie Killer. And the worst part about it is that he didn't even get a 3rd Ultra Talent. He didn't even get a 3rd Ultra Talent. They could have given him Zombie Killer. They could have given him, like, another status to put on top of the slow. They could have done something. They could have given him a good immunity. They didn't. He even got Resist Wave and Weaken. Like, they could have done so much with them, but they just didn't. Because remember, 480 range with that much DPS. 6,000 DPS at 480 range is good for generalist usage. He just unfortunately didn't get anything else. Anyways, Anubis. I'm gonna be honest. Hear me out. He's better than Cosmo. I know. This is going to be probably one of my most controversial takes of all time. Absolutely. It's going to be one of my worst takes of all time, according to other people. Emotion went from sad to normal. Yeah. Just know. Nah, hear me out. Hear me out. Cosmo's 850 range is overkill. Like, it's actually way overkill. But I'm going to open my Mountain Dew. I need some caffeine right about now. Also, it's not normal Mountain Dew. It's Baja Blast. It is a hot take. I know it's a hot take. I can get him Ultra Talent right now. Well, to be fair, I like Anubis a lot, so I'm kind of biased here. I'm kind of biased. I will admit that. I'm a little bit biased. But okay. So I'm going to try and do something here in my Discord server, and I'll show it to you at the end. Oh wait, no, it's literally right here because I did this so recently. So, chat, I just want to show you this. Bro generally has about 25,000 DPS, and yes, this is all talents, and this effectively does not include the surge. By the way, I just want to say that this does not include the surge, right? He's like Ganesha without LD. That's not a good thing. But he has about 26,000 DPS, right? He has 3,600 cost with cost down. And his attack frequency is actually really good. It's like 5 to 6 seconds, which is really good, actually. His force swing is still long. But, I mean, welcome to being a nuker, you know? And at level 30, he has 60,000 damage per hit. And at level... Did I say at level 60? At level 30, he has... Whatever. At level 6, he has 112,000 damage per hit. Remember, that's without the attack buff. The attack buff... 10 or something. Yeah, 120,000 damage per hit, 120,000 damage per hit, right? And then he has the 30% chance for the surge, which does stack on top of where he was already attacking. He has immunity to surge, as well as natural knockback, or immune to waves, knockback, and slow. His recharge time isn't that long. And here's the thing. I know earlier I said I wasn't going to be like direct. I'm not technically directly comparing one Uber to the next, you know? I'm putting them generally where I would put them in the ranking if no Uber was on the ranking in the first place, right? But I think that anything over 600 is overkill, because the only time that's actually helpful is against Zero Luza, which is one stage. They might beat it a couple times, but Cosmo has the same recharge time, much worse survivability because far less HP and far less immunities. So even though he has an extra knockback, he does have worse survivability, in my opinion. And then his Omni Strike only, you know, guarantees that he lands a hit, right? So this is at level 60, right? He has about the same amount of damage per hit as Anubis in 20 seconds. In 20 seconds. Anubis has a fourth of the attack frequency with ultra talents, and yet he has comparable damage per hit. So his DPS is like far better than Cosmo's, right? And yes, I know the wave, so technically it's just double. Well, you know the DPS comparison. It's more than double, 2.5 about, because Cosmo Ultra Form has about 10k, you know? But Cosmo's biggest weakness is push, right? Cosmo has Pierce. Anubis has raw damage. And then, here's the thing. I know Pierce is valuable, right? I know Pierce is valuable. But remember, his DPS relies on his wave, and some things are wave immune. Believe it or not, some things are wave immune. Anubis's damage does not rely on that, on a wave, and it doesn't even rely on his surge. His surge is a nice bonus that can be nice. You sound like a fucking insane person? No, I don't. Because remember, Cosmo doesn't have Zombie Killer, and he doesn't have immunities, and he doesn't have Shield Pierce. So as a generalist, I'm saying Shield Pierce is 70%, which is really convenient, which is really consistent. He also has Zombie Killer, which gives him actually good usage against zombies, especially since if they burrow up close to him, he's not as punished because he can just kill them. Cosmo cannot say the same, because remember, he has a 10-second attack force swing, so he can't just get things off of him, right? And remember, I'm talking about standalone Ubers. You can't be like, oh, but Cosmo, you know, you're going to have other Ubers in front, blah, 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 blah. No, because remember, what I said earlier today, not in this video, YouTube, but what I said earlier is that a good way of looking at this tier list is saying, what Uber, if I were to have one Uber, how much would I want it? If I were to have one Uber in the game, it would probably be Dark Phono. But if my second place would be Anubis. My second place would be Anubis, because remember, generalist value is very important in that. And yes, I do consider specialist value. Cosmo has really good specialist value, right? Against floating and aliens. No, angels. Floating and angels. However, I don't think that justifies his long-ass force swing and his long-ass attack frequency. I think that is a huge inconsistency that he has is his long force swing and attack frequency. Anubis has a fourth of the attack frequency, comparable damage, and less than half of the force swing, while also providing much better damage and also much better generalist value because of his zombie killer and shield pierce, while also having immune to surge and immune to waves and slow. So like if there's a Crocley, Anubis isn't being punished by it. Cosmo might be. I don't know. I don't know if he outranges Crocley. But they do have comparable everything. And then Anubis also has far more HP, so he can tank a little more, you know, if he is getting hit, which he probably will be. Cosmo would not be punished? Let's look at it. I'm genuinely curious. Oh, he wouldn't be. Unless, like, well, I mean, if you're not meat shielding, then no, he wouldn't be, but, like, you know? Because remember, Anubis also still has high speed. Like, this is high speed for a backliner, so he's not even getting into LDs all that much. Or he's not even struggling to get into LDs all that much. I'm about to be convinced? No. My job here isn't to convince you that one Uber is better than the other. My job is to educate you on how good some Ubers are, and to show you the facts and the numbers. The numbers here are saying that Anubis is a backliner with 425 range, which is more than enough for most of the game. And he has really good survivability because he has a good amount of HP, because remember, these are level 30 stats right here. These are level 30 stats. And then he also, literally the only trait he doesn't work against is metal. Every single other trait he works against, because he doesn't have to worry about curse. He doesn't have to worry about Aku shields. He has immune to surge, immune to wave. He even has immune to slow, naturally. And his immune to knockback may not seem good until you realize he would get hit by Mr. Moles. He can tank Mr. Moles just fine. And so in the rare occasion that there is a Mr. Mole on the other side, he's not actually punished for it. And yes, I know it ruins his survivability, but how often are you actually relying on the knockback to make you have survivability in a stage? You know? So I genuinely believe this is very fitting music right now. I genuinely believe Anubis to be above Cosmo. Why is somebody telling me to check meme chat? I'm going to make sure I don't actually, you know, leak anything. Oh yeah, ignore this. Yeah, completely accurate. I love Charlie Day. That's his name, right? Charlie Day, something. The misinformation wild for some of these placements. What misinformation? Because everything I say is either my opinion or it's factually backed. So I don't know. I mean, it's a tier list, so obviously it's opinion. But where is the misinformation coming from? I'm providing stats. I don't think. Is there anything that I'm lying about? Just Kuize? No, she's a worse loser. She is a worse loser. What do you? Okay, I don't even believe Luza would be A. I don't think Luza's that good. Like I said earlier, raw damage isn't that big of a deal. Anyways, Aphrodite. Wait, even though yes, I know. Here's the thing: the difference with Anubis is that he actually has specialist value of everything. Like he has the ability to be a specialist for Akus and zombies, while having good immunities, while also having specialist damage against everything. So like that's kind of like, I still like generalists for damage, right? Like damage is still valuable, but yes, he also has good range, you know. Ku is weird. Check it again, bad son, something too bad. I'm talking about Aphrodite, because remember earlier I said I had to hurry up. My goat of early game, my goat of the entire game. Remember, 600 standing range is still really good. Her damage, unfortunately, is just not living up anymore. But I mean, this is a good attack frequency up, you know? And then she also gets an attack buff. So like, if you lower... So let's say she had 10-second attack frequency. Okay, let's get a calculator out. No, wait. I don't have to get a calculator for this. At level 30, that would be 4,000 DPS with the reduced attack frequency, and 20%, so that would be a fifth, so that would be 4,800 DPS at level 30, which is actually much better than it was back before talents and stuff, back before ultra talent. So it's actually a pretty major DPS up, and so against aliens she's obviously still really good, but even generally That attack range in LD is still really nice. Fonoa exists, that's why I'm not putting her above Fonoa. But yeah, you know where I am going to put her? I'm still going to put her in A, above Furluga. I will still put her above Furluga because Aphrodite, like it or not, is still really good. Like it or not, Aphrodite is still really good because her survivability is still really good. Her recharge time isn't too long. Her LD is actually massive. And then like, yeah, she's just really good. I mean, I don't like. I'm kind of doing this shrug emoji right now. I don't know what the hell else to say. And then Amaterasu is probably right above Aphrodite, just for completely different reasons. Because Amaterasu isn't a super backliner. I don't think anyone's complaining about Aphrodite's placement. I know. But somebody will probably complain about it. Time to play more Isaac? Don't worry, I'll be playing Hades after this stream. But yeah, Amaterasu, 455 standing range, 3.5k DPS at level 30, but with massive damage, that would be around, against traded, it would be around 3 times 12 plus 2, 14,000 DPS. Welcome to my brain. Pretty short recharge time, not gonna lie. Quick attack frequency, short force swing, really good survivability. Stage 2's Momoko. I love Momoko, but that'll be one of the very last things I talk about in this ranking. She also has Zombie Killer, and she also has really good survivability. Honestly, I think if she got talents in today's time, she would probably get Shield Piercer instead of Barrier Breaker, but unfortunate. But Amaterasu is actually really good. Like, in my opinion, she's the old Anubis, right? In terms of like overall just only being weak to metals. That was the only thing she was weak to back whenever she got her talents, because Aku's didn't exist. And so she was the old Anubis for me. But now that Anubis has his ultra talents instead of just talents, which Amaterasu doesn't even have ultra talents yet. So maybe next update? Maybe. But yeah, so how many schmeckles did Anubis pay you to put him over Cosmo? None. Hey, you want me to do something crazy? Cosmo's below Kaluga. No. Honestly, I genuinely don't believe Cosmo to be that good. I'm only putting him up here because I know I haven't used him in his ultra form. I've used him in his true form. I haven't used him in his ultra form out of spite, but I know he's still really good. And like partially the reason why he's this high up is because I despise Barg and Lazvos, even though I know they're obviously top 10. But I despise them so much that I'll put Cosmo above them. You know? Amaterasu Ultra Form? Maybe. Because, I mean, Amaterasu is the next one. Well, actually, no, she's not. Ganesha already got his. Which, speaking of Ganesha, every Cosmo owner glazes him for a reason. I'm aware. That's why I put him so high up. Anyways, Ganesha, 400 standing range, 3600 DPS, 66,000 HP, 5 knockbacks, and a strengthen that starts after 1 knockback. So, look at this YNS LD, right? This damage may not look that great, but with this LD, it's already pretty decent. And then, strengthen is 100%. So this becomes 7k DPS. And then you look at this, another strengthen. So after just getting hit once, or after getting knocked back once, you have an LDer at level 30 that can have up to 325 piercing range with less than 120 second recharge time. That has more than 10k DPS. Immune to waves, mostly what this is good for. The 2-second recharge time, or not recharge time, attack frequency, basically increases DPS by another 20%. So that would be 12,000 DPS plus another 20%. So that would be 14,000 DPS. At level 30, by the way. So, yeah. Put that bitch above Thundia. Ganesha, unfortunately, doesn't have any specialist value, so that's why I'm not putting Ganesha any higher. Because I simply believe that these specialists provide a value that Ganesha can never live up to. That's what I think. Never really used Ganesha. He's a dude, by the way. I do have her, though. It's a he. They got nips out. Ganesha same DPS as Anubis with LD. Is it? I don't know. I don't know the math there, but he's generic, but like you can't deny he does crazy damage. He does do crazy damage, right? He just has no like, unlike Anubis, he doesn't have he doesn't have immune to surge, right? He requires a knockback, so you actually have to lure in order to get hit, which isn't that big of a deal. The force swing is, I think, longer, but not by much. And then there is a blind spot, and then there's no zombie killer. Those are the main things. And it's also that Anubis still has quicker attack frequency, so you're still getting more hits out of Anubis than Ganesha. It's clearly a man. Don't worry, I used to do the same thing just because look at this bob. This bob haircut kind of looks like it could be a woman. LD though? I know. But lacking immune to surge in this day and age kind of does put you down a few ranks. Sorry. Especially since Anubis has 425 standing range, Ganesha has 400. That's a pretty decent difference because that's like Anubis. The difference there is that Anubis outranges things like Lenoir, and Ganesha does not. So Ganesha can be juggled a little bit better, more. Novaluga, best super trust, honestly. Anyways, Poseidon. God, I'm gonna be here a lot longer than I wanted to be. Anyways, Poseidon, right? Did you see the Kenshin 1 slot Okame? I believe it. I never saw it though. Poseidon has really good recharge time, 36 movement speed, 250 standing range, so it's a rusher, mid-range rusher. 6k DPS base, by the way. This is level 30 base. That is the base DPS, right? 100% chance to freeze for 3 seconds, so about 40% uptime. That's really good for... I mean, metals and zombies aren't really threatening, really, but it's there, right? He outranges most zombies and metals, so it's actually really good synergy with his standing range and his like type of unit. And then he has Savage Blow. One of the few units in the game to have Savage Blow and Zombie Killer, so you can get a double super satisfying, just bam, you know, super satisfying Savage Blow with Zombie Kill. Super satisfying sound effect, no ultra talents or ultra form, but still really good, right? Because it's 30% chance, so that's effectively 60%. That's about 9.5k effective DPS. It's honestly closer to that I think is straight up 10k effective DPS as 350 standing range with 5 knockbacks. With 80 seconds recharge time, with Zombie Killer, with, I don't know, high speed or something. I don't know. Like, he's good, right? Like, he's really good. Really good specialist value as well. Not S tier, unfortunately. Worse targeting than most of these guys. So, honestly, I think it's fitting to put him right below Furluga. I don't think he's as good as Aphrodite and Amaterasu, but I do believe him to be better than Asaluga and Balaluga. Maybe not Furluga, but him, Kahime, and Housewife for Zombie Kill and Savage, right? I'm sure there's more somewhere in the world of collabs and stuff. Sorry, let me change back to my actual playlist so that I'm not fucking... Where you at? I don't know why I click on the loop button and then YouTube just doesn't loop. I don't know why that happens. But yeah, Poseidon is really good. Poseidon low S for the generalist value? No. Having great specialist value against zombies and metals is not enough to make it into S rank. Sorry to say. Because its generalist value, like, although is good, is worse than Amaterasu's. Like, way worse than Amaterasu's. And the traits he targets aren't really that threatening. Zombies and metal, like, all you have to do is use Future Cat, Shigong, and a research combo, and I mean, they're not a threat for most stages, right? So, like, you know, Twitch is actually insane. Yeah, that's not my problem. Chronos, I actually think, is the best of the Almighties, even fitting into S tier. But not by much. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. The caffeine from the mountain too, I guess, is bubbling up. But Yeah, I actually think Chronos is the best Almighty. Except for Anubis, of course. But like Chronos is actually really good. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with me saying that Chronos is S tier. Because like I mean, like it or not, freeze is freeze. You know, it's about a second freeze. It's about 3 seconds of freeze every 10 seconds, which isn't the best. But considering the LD that it's hitting is really nice because you're freezing basically everybody in front of you. Your survivability is really good with three knockbacks, 50,000 HP. I mean, I say it's really good. It's pretty good. 450 standing range is the main deal here. Quick force swing, just decent recharge time, not too expensive. God, these talents suck. But like, I think the main thing about Chronos is that it works so well with anything else, right? Like, I think Chronos is the only, one of 2 Ubers that isn't necessarily good on its own, but is really good because of what it can do for the rest of your units. Cosmo is the other one of this. Cosmo works super well as a second Uber, or as a second, like, kind of supporting Uber. Not even against floating or angels, just as something to clear the battlefield every now and then, you know? Cosmo's really good at that. And then Chronos is the same kind of way, where since Chronos has such a good freeze generally, or such a decent freeze generally, you can use it super well with slow, weaken, other statuses, knockback. You can even use her really well with slime and rushers, because of the 1 second freeze being a big enough opening for things like Awaken Bahamut, slime, can, you know? Like, it's a big enough opening for other things to get attacks in. And so that's why Chronos makes it into the S tier. Only barely though, because Chronos, like, actually, like, look at this damage, like, and the weird multi hit as well. And there is a blind, like a pretty big blind spot. There's an opening within every attack unless you use a combo, like, and then lack of good immunities. Like, there are those problems that Chronos has, but she works so well with other support Ubers or just other units in general that it's just really good. It's just so consistent. You can say that. I wouldn't be surprised if there were more flat earthers than people who know about Cosmo and Anubis. Wait, and people that believe Anubis is over Cosmo? Well, to be fair, I'm like the one person that believes Anubis is over Cosmo. So, welcome to the world of there's at least 2 people that think that the Earth is flat. Cronus is better than Matama? No, not even close. But I guess I'll get to that whenever I get to Matama. Anyways, Hades actually has 7,000 DPS. I think a lot of people are surprised by that because they always seem to think that he has low damage, but like his DPS is actually pretty good. His HP is obviously really high, 400,000. And then he has, with talents, he has slow and weaken. God knows why they gave something with 250 range slow, but he does have weaken, which actually can be nice-ish. It's only 1 second and it's only 20% chance, but he does have 3 multi, so it can be nice. He's weird, right? He's weird, but he also has really good immunities. Like, the only immunities he lacks are the ones that you can just tank through. So, like, he is... You say high A, I say low A. Because he doesn't really provide much, but what he does provide is probably one of the best general tank usages you get in the entire game. A tank not dependent on resist is cool. Yeah, absolutely. Like, Kai is definitely a better generalist tank just because of her damage output and speed. But Hades is, like, he's not bad. Like, he's still A. I believe him to still be A, but I don't know. He has a lot of HP, and his DPS is actually pretty good considering his HP. However, unfortunately, in a game where the enemies are getting stronger and stronger, and your units are only barely getting stronger, unfortunately, Hades does struggle with that. Hopefully, his Ultra Talents and Ultra Form really improve upon him, because unfortunately, the highest base HP in the game or whatever isn't best of anything, really, unfortunately. But that's just Hades. Like, he's good still, right? No gimmicks? True. He also has toxic immunity, which is a big deal for, like, gobbles and stuff. So, Papaluga on top? Yeah, because this is, like, reverse, you know? Everything at the top is the worst. Hades is not good. I don't know why they glaze him. I don't think you've ever used Hades, because as somebody that has used Hades, against literally anything... You know, against literally anything, Hades can just walk up, tank for a little while, and nothing dies. Like, nothing dies whenever you put him up front. Like, that's just the way that it works. That he does his job amazingly in general usage. I can't wait till he gets made better. But in the meantime, Lucifer has a combo that can be decent, but anyways, he has 550 standing range. I always forget he has so much standing range. 120 second recharge time, 7 attack frequency, 3500 DPS, and 40,000 HP. But his DPS may look bad, and you're probably like, hey, Brian, why are you trying to say he's like good or whatever? 550 standing range with guaranteed surge. So his effective DPS against floating Naku is actually 10,000 at level 30. His survivability is fine. Actually really good considering its range. And he does lack talents, but he does have immune to surge. His main thing going for him is his 550 standing range, and pretty decent LD. Like, he has a huge blind spot, but just don't let things get into your blind spot. You know, Cone exists, Octo exists. You know, and his combo is actually pretty good. Like, both of these guys have strong up against, or strong against Aku. So like. That's actually a combo you would probably use a decent bit, to be honest. Because Cactus is by no means outclassed by Cone. Some people will say he is, because Cone has far more HP. But Cactus also has surge immunity, unlike Cone. So. And then he also doesn't have much speed, which can be nice for a meat shield. But I actually think Lucifer is above Hades. Because, like, Lucifer's generalist value and specialist value is so good. I think I'm putting Lucifer above Amaterasu even, honestly. Because he actually has good targeting as well. He targets floating and Aku. Two pretty decent traits to target. Like, Aku's kind of meh. He doesn't have shield pierce. So, like, his Aku targeting isn't that great, but, like, his damage against it is still good. But his floating targeting is where he actually shines. Because having this kind of LD against floating is actually really good. I don't think people give floating the credit that it deserves as like a threatening trait, just because there's so many floating enemies in the game. And so being able to be so good against them with so much range and, you know, even generous viability as well is a really nice ability to have. I'm probably going to stop today after the Almighties, honestly. I think I'll just do a really long stream tomorrow, or maybe I'll speed things up tomorrow. Anyways, Aset. That's Anubis again. Or not. Oh my god. I'm tired, bro. I need to hurry this up. I need to hurry this up. I'll talk about Aset's combo in a second. Aset's true form was the best thing to ever happen to Aset. I mean... She's still technically a new Uber. She doesn't even have talents, but that's besides the point. Her true form is really good. Less than a 2-minute recharge time, 150 HP. Sorry, 150,000 HP. About 4,000 DPS, 350 standing range, 2-second attack frequency, 15 movement speed, 3 knockbacks. So really good survivability with that HP. Because remember, these are level 30 stats instead of level 60 stats. If you want to know level 60 stats, then that is 7k DPS and 300,000 HP. Basically, a pretty easy way to remember level 30 to level 60. Oftentimes, the difference between level 30 and level 60 is just double the HP, double the DPS, and you'll be somewhere in the ballpark of what the actual difference is. The trait target is having a big impact on where they go on this tier list. Yeah, because obviously it's not fully true, because remember, Thunderjack also targets Aku, Nurse also targets floating, Sodom targets floating and Relic, Coppermind targets floating. Like, obviously it's not foolproof, like, anti-floatings go into A, right? But, like, you know. Yeah. There's a reason why the anti-trait lists are typically going higher than, you know, other traits. But anyways, and her DPS may look pretty mid, right? Considering her pretty short range. However, that range is actually really good once you realize her DPS doubles with the level 3 wave attack. So not only does this double the damage from her, but it also gives her piercing, which is really nice. She has immune to freeze and toxic, so immune to toxic is actually a pretty decently big deal. Really consistent attack, which is 2 seconds, and then the strengthen. After 1 knockback, she becomes strengthened. So this is that's about 12k DPS at level 30. That is without talents, and that is with such rapid firing attack frequency. You're getting so much DPS out of a set. It's like I'd compare it to Dark Laser in just the fact that you're getting rapid DPS from a set. You're getting constant value. And Colossus Slayer, I mean, I don't think it's really that good for her, but maybe. Like, I cannot wait for Talons in true form. Obviously, she is not amazing because she lacks a specialist value, and she lacks top-notch generalist value. But I think I'll put her right above Hades. No, I'll put her right there. I think I'll put her right there. Because Ice Cat and Momo are mainly anti-reds. Against Angels, Momotaro is decent. But Momotaro is mainly known for their generalist value. So I think I need to move Gladios down a little bit. Nah, his anti-trailers value is so good. Ah, screw it. He's still A. Kind of like Cosmo being able to hit the whole field. What? No. But yeah. Really good wave, though. Level 3 wave is actually really good, though. It does hit basically everything in front of you. The wave, it's not the same as his level 10 wave, but it is somewhat comparable, I'd say. Is nasty? Yeah. And then the last one of today and the Almighties is Skanda, a new Uber, who's very interesting. 4,000 cost on something with 90-second recharge time and 3 knockbacks, 200 range. But 80,000 each, like he's so weird, right? Because if he had 400 standing range, he still wouldn't be that good because his damage is kind of underwhelming as hell. But he has 4k DPS. He's a rusher with 10-second attack frequency and only 3 knockbacks. But he has a conjure, so like his conjure's really good because it's a 3-second freeze, but he's expensive, he's got a long recharge time for a rusher, and he's got low knockback. Like why does he only have 3 knockbacks? Like, that's my main problem with him. But he weakens Red, Angel, and Alien, right, for 4 seconds. Basically, you want to use him with other rushers to get more hits in from them, because the Conjure, Freeze, and the Weaken. But he, on his own, isn't doing much. I think he's actually comparable to Zeus, except better because he has at least a little bit of usage. So, I mean, he has a Weaken Wave, which isn't bad. So, like, he also triple targets. Red, Angel, and Alien. Not a lot of good targets, but it is 3. I think I'll put him... Putting Skanda above Thunderjack I feels wrong, not gonna lie. So I'll put him above Nobunaga. I'll put him above Nobunaga. I think that's what I'll do. So yeah, there's that. That's the wrong button. There's the finished tier list for today, boys and girls. And everybody. YouTube, if you did enjoy, please do come back for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.